We changed the will. Carter gets everything, my mum announced coldly. Then Carter can handle the bills, I replied while cancelling every payment. They left me out of their future, so I let their power get cut for a week straight. My name is Sophia. I'm 34 years old, and until lately, I believed my bond with my parents was strong. I never imagined something huge would pop up suddenly, especially not a shocking truth that would turn everything in my life upside down. All through my life, I was taught that family came before anything else. It wasn't just something my parents mentioned now and then. It was a rule in our home. They repeated it again and again, and I truly believed it. It didn't just apply to big days like Christmas or birthdays. It meant always being there. If my parents needed anything, I showed up. When money was tight for them, I helped out. I did my part to be the kind of daughter who always chose family first. Because of all this, I figured that when it came to big choices, like their will or future planning, I'd be included. But I wasn't. It all started one night after I got back from work. Lately, I had been feeling really tired, trying to balance my job, friends, and all the house chores. So when I saw an email from my mum saying she wanted to chat, I didn't think it was a big deal. The email title said, "Important Talk." But the message was different. She asked me to come by the next day to go over some family stuff. Of course, I called her right away to ask what was going on. "Hey, is everything all right?" I asked, trying to ignore the heavy feeling in my chest. She paused. "Yeah, all good. Just stop by tomorrow." I said okay, but I couldn't shake the weird feeling inside. Something felt off. The next day, I arrived at my parents' house around noon. My mom met me at the door with her normal friendly face, but something seemed strange. She looked stiff. My dad was on the couch, but he didn't speak much, which was weird for him. We sat down at the kitchen table, and the room felt full of pressure. After a bit of silence, my mum finally spoke. "Sophia." "We have to talk about something serious," she said, sounding a little too calm, like she was getting ready to break bad news. "Okay, what is it?" I asked. She let out a long breath, glanced at my dad, then looked back at me. "We've changed our will and we've made some choices." For some reason, my heart started pounding. It felt wrong. I tried to keep cool, but I could feel the nerves crawling up my back. "What do you mean? Is everything okay?" "We're just doing what we feel is smart," she said, sounding more firm. "We've decided to leave everything to your brother, Ethan." The air seemed to freeze. "Wait, what? What do you mean everything? You're giving it all to Ethan?" She nodded and didn't look me in the eye. "Yes, Sophia. We talked about it and we believe it's the best thing. He's getting the house, the savings, everything we've earned." My thoughts went wild. I couldn't even take it in. I always thought family meant I'd be included. I thought I mattered too. My mum shook her head. "Sophia, we've always tried to do right by you, but lately, Ethan has been the more steady one. He's around more, and we think it's time to put him first." My hands started to tremble. "More steady? Are you serious? I've helped pay bills, brought groceries, and done so much for years. I've always shown up. And Ethan, what has he done?" My dad finally said something. His voice was softer than normal. "Sophia, we're just trying to be realistic. Ethan is the one who will take over things later on. He has the time and the tools. It just seems like the right move." "This doesn't make sense," I said, my voice rising even though I tried to stay calm. "I've stood by you both every time. You can't just push me aside like this." There was a quiet stretch, and I could sense the heaviness of their silence. The look on my mother's face seemed a bit regretful, but it wasn't strong enough to comfort me. I stood up quickly, the chair sliding loudly across the ground, and I felt my breathing get faster. "I don't understand what's happening with you both," I said, "but this isn't what being family means." As I turned to go, I heard my father say, "Sophia, please give it some thought." But I didn't want to think. I was burning with anger. My mind was spinning, and I had no idea how to deal with all the emotions building up inside me. How could they treat me this way? How could they turn their backs after everything I'd done? For the next several weeks, I couldn't stop thinking that something felt wrong. I kept replaying the will in my mind, how they gave everything to Ethan, and how they acted like it didn't matter. It felt like I'd been betrayed. That's when I decided to do something. At first, it wasn't about getting back at them. It was about standing my ground, about proving that I wasn't going to accept being treated this way. I had been covering some of their expenses, paying for things like electricity and water, and I realized I wasn't going to keep helping if they had no place for me in their plans. So I quit. I stopped paying their bills. I thought if they no longer cared about me, then why should I worry about their lights staying on? A month went by. I didn't hear much from them, just short texts asking how I was. Nothing personal, nothing that felt like they were sorry. Then one afternoon I got a message from my mom. "Why is the power off?" My heart started racing the moment I saw those words. I felt a strange mix of relief and guilt. My decision had hit them, but at the same time, I felt a cold knot in my stomach. Is this what I really wanted? Did I want them to feel what I felt? Did I want to see them struggle? I didn't answer right away. I stared at the screen for a long time, the message blinking, waiting for me to respond. Finally, I typed, "I thought Ethan was taking care of everything. Maybe you should talk to him." Then I put my phone down and let the silence grow between us. I didn't know what would happen next, but for the first time in a long while, I felt like I had taken back control. The following days moved slowly, each one dragging along as I waited for what would come next. I kept repeating that day in my mind, wondering if I had made the right call. Part of me felt like apologizing or explaining more clearly, but then I'd remember what they said, that I wasn't part of their future, and I'd get mad all over again. The truth is, I was wounded. I was upset. And most of all, I was finished being the one who always had to care first. The silence was loud. A few days later, I sat on the sofa scrolling on my phone when another message from my mom came in. "Sophia, this has gone too far. We should talk. I don't know why you're doing this. We're your parents. You can't treat us like this." I didn't wait. My hands floated above the screen and then I typed, "Maybe you should have thought about that before leaving me out." I'm not the one who owes an explanation. I placed the phone down. The weight of my reply hit me. My hands were shaking, but I couldn't take it back. Now it was done. Another few days passed. My phone stayed silent. No new messages, no calls, no one trying to make things right. It felt like they had stopped trying. But still, I waited. A part of me believed they couldn't just let me go without fixing things. Then on a Thursday evening, my phone buzzed. I didn't need to look, I already knew. My mother's name was glowing on the screen. My heartbeat pounded in my chest, but I slowly inhaled and picked up the call. "Hi, Sophia," my mother began, her tone soft and low. "I'm not sure what you expect from us, but we're your family. We've always tried to do what's right for you, even if it wasn't what you wanted." Her words shook slightly, and for a moment I felt a bit of sympathy, but I quickly shut that down. This was the same person who told me I wasn't trustworthy enough to be given anything. I wasn't going to fall for that again. "I'm not asking for anything, Mum. You decided what you wanted, and so did I. You've already shown me where I stand, so don't count on me to keep fixing your problem." The silence on her side of the line felt heavier than anything she might have said. For a while, we both stayed quiet. Then, at last, she spoke. "Please come home. We should speak face to face." I felt the pressure of her words close in around me. A part of me wanted to give in, to go back and patch things up, but I couldn't. Not while I was still so angry. I don't know if I can. And with that, I hung up. The decision had been made. I knew what I had to do. I couldn't keep pretending.